My name's Kang the Kangaroo, and welcome to my Brooklyn studio apartment tour. Earlier this month, I packed my life into 3 suitcases and moved from Seattle to New York City. I pay around $3,100 for this apartment, but throughout this video, I'm gonna try to convince you, and I guess at this point myself, that it's worth it. All right, so right when you enter the apartment, you have this little foyer area where you can store your shoes. There's a nice little backpack spot where you can hang out your hats and stuff. Opposite to that, we have a little coat cabinet, pretty clutch for New York City. And then continuing on, have the kitchen. This is a pretty big kitchen, has a lot of space, counter space right here to chop and cut and clean. Then also pretty deep sink as well, and a dishwasher, which is really important. Also a gas burner, which if you've never had before is life changer. I love gas burner. And then opposite to that, you have the washroom. So this washroom is nothing super special. It is pretty big. The only gripe I really have about this washroom is that these medicine cabinets are pretty small. Like, look how deep that is. I wish that it was just a bit deeper, but no problems there. I've used a bar cart to kind of alleviate my storage issues. But continuing on, we have the washer and dryer. Right after you leave the kitchen, you have, I think it's the most optimal setup, having the desk back like this, then having a little lounge area, and then the windows back there. So this is a pretty big space, and honestly I think it's more than enough for one person living in New York. With two, I think it'd be a bit tight, but right now it's just me, so no problems there. Continuing on, we have the view from outside. So this is downtown Brooklyn, so all I really see is other buildings, which I don't really have a problem with. Oh, and up here we have this TV that's pretty good. I got some lo-fi playing, but it's muted right now. Now, turning all the way around, we have the main sleeping area. So this is a pretty big size. Like, this is a queen bed with some under the bed storage as well. Then we get to the final part of the tour, which is the walk-in closet. Honestly, super big for New York. I have a lot of storage in here just for my suitcases and stuff like that. Just my clothes in here. Nothing really going on. So overall, I would say that this apartment is around 550 square feet, give or take. And considering it's just me living here, it's honestly a pretty good amount of space. But let's get serious for a second and talk about some numbers. In total, for all the living expenses related to this apartment, I pay around $3,100 a month, which may sound like a lot, and to be honest, it is. But considering the apartment location, which is downtown Brooklyn, plus the fact that this is a luxury building with a doorman and a ton of amenities, $3,100 is actually pretty good for the area. Now, if you're watching this from outside of New York, or you're my mom watching, you'll probably be confused as to why I'm paying so much in rent. But if you go on Street Easy and try to find an apartment with the specifications that I've listed for under $3,100 in lower Manhattan or the desirable parts of Brooklyn, you're gonna have a pretty hard time. So that alone might have convinced you that the apartment is worth it. But what if I told you that all the furniture that you've seen in this video, I also got for free? So I actually found this apartment on Reddit of all places. I saw someone list this apartment and saying that they were moving out of town and needed someone to take over their lease. And at the time, I was in the middle of my move to New York City, so I was really dialed into how much each apartment should cost in each area, and I realized that this was a pretty good deal, all things considered. I was also very flexible with my move-in date, so things kind of aligned perfectly for me to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, there were some hiccups along the way, but I was able to secure this apartment and all of the furniture, with the only caveat that I had to move out at the end of August. I think normally in this situation like this, I'd be really worried about getting scammed, and my friend recently got scammed in a similar sort of way, so all things kind of had me freaked out a little bit about this whole entire situation. But since this unit is in a luxury building and we had to go through the leasing office to get all the paperwork done, I felt pretty confident because everything felt very legit. But if I were to do this with a mom and pop landlord where it's just me, the person, and the landlord interacting, and I've never seen the apartment, I probably would not do this unless I was physically in New York or I had a very trusted friend go through the whole entire process for me. The guy that I took the apartment from was super chill, and he actually left me all this furniture for free. On top of that, he also left a ton of cleaning supplies. I would estimate between the furniture and all the miscellaneous things that he left, I've saved well over $1,500. All I really had to do was bring my clothes and put it in the closet, and I was more or less ready to go. I will say I'm pretty convinced that one of the reasons that he gave me such a good deal and he left me so much stuff is because we're both coincidentally Vietnamese. But in reality, he's probably just a really chill guy who was nice enough to leave all this stuff for me. So if you're somehow watching this, Kenny, thank you. I appreciate it. You're the GOAT. So yeah, that's also why there's a bar cart in the washroom. I just want to make use of everything before moving out. So if you're thinking about moving to a new city, especially New York, I would consider trying to find a sublet for a short amount of time, just so you can get a feel for the city and the neighborhoods that you may potentially want to live in. The way that I look at it is that even though I'm paying a little bit more than I'd like, I'm able to take advantage of the fact that downtown Brooklyn is so well connected and explore all the different neighborhoods that I potentially might want to live in. And on top of that, I think in May or June of 2025, they're getting rid of the broker's fee. So that means that in August, when this lease is up, I won't have to pay like 1 month's rent just for some dude to show me an apartment. So with all those things added up, I personally think that $3,100 is completely reasonable for what I'm getting, but I'm curious. Let me know what you think in the comments, if I got a good deal or if I got fleeced. Now, if you're curious about some of the other moving related costs that I incurred while I moved, it wasn't actually that much. I had to buy some new bedding, some new kitchen stuff, and like this chair that I'm sitting on, which ended up being around $1,000 total. But considering I moved across the country, I don't think $1,000 is too bad. And I think I did a pretty good job about being practical about the things that I bought when I moved in. So if you're curious about some more conscious spending lifestyle videos, let me know. I can, I guess, work that into the schedule. And you might think that I've gotten pretty lucky with this apartment, but I've moved every single year for the last 4 years. And every single time I've moved, I've always thought I've gotten pretty lucky. So I think maybe it's me. And if you're curious about how much I paid in my last apartment, you can watch this video right here.